When dealing with our daily emotions that we all face, there can be positive outcomes we control. Is living abundantly really possible for all of us, no matter where we find ourselves today? Absolutely, unequivocally, yes is the answer. Now, here is the host of The Long Bearded Guy, the Chief Catalyst, Strategist Guide at Jewel International, Gordon D. Melville.
Good afternoon, my friends. You're with Gordon D. Melville, the Long Bearded Guy on Inspired Choices Network. Welcome to Red Fridays. And the fun part of December is that my Red Fridays, the RED, remember everyone deployed, I can wear my red Santa hat. So it puts the two together. So doesn't take away from either one, though. So where you still want to pay respect and honor everybody deployed. We're remembering you even at holiday time. During holidays, one of the hardest times of the year. December, January, February even are the hardest times of the year for a lot of people. I talk a lot about EQ, and the emotional quotient at this time of year is very difficult. Some people struggle a lot in December and January and around Christmas especially. So it's something I had put in my notes for today about being kind to people, because you don't know what they're dealing with. You have no idea the battles they're fighting and what they're going through. So be kind, especially this time of year. We need to be kind. So today, which beautiful segue, and it runs right into what the topic is today. Lead with love, achieve with heart is our topic for today. Lead with love, achieve with heart. A lot of times we lead with judgment instead of love, and we're wired that way, and we'll talk about that today. But welcome. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. I know there's people listening on the road. I know there's people listening from work. I know there's people all over the place. And if you can get in to our with our Inspired Choices Network app, you can free download from anywhere that you would find it, wherever you have your favorite podcasts and live radio and TV. You can pop into our live studio audience. You come into the chat, they'll give you my producer will give you a link into the live studio audience, and then we can talk. You can put questions in the chat. Would encourage you to do that. You can also find us on, we're streaming live on, obviously, on our Inspired Choices Network platform, but we're also streaming live on inspiredchoicesnetwork.tv, which is our TV station. We're also streaming live from our Inspired Choices Network platform page on Facebook and YouTube. So you can find us there live, as well as obviously on more than 50 digital radio stations, iHeartRadio and Spotify, and all these other places you can find us. So please like us, love us, share, subscribe. It doesn't cost anything to subscribe, but that helps our algorithms and it helps us pay for the show. So please share it. Share this. If this is impactful for you, share it. If there's men in your life or people in your life, obviously my avatar are entrepreneurial men, but share this. Share it with people that need to hear, that need to be encouraged. And if you haven't heard it yet today, I want to tell you I love you. And big hugs. You matter. You're enough just the way you are. But people need to hear that, especially this time of year where they need to hear that. So please like it, love it, share it, subscribe, bring people and engage with me. I've said that before. If you like what you hear, tell me. If you hate what you hear, tell me. I've got thick skin. I was in the automotive industry for 25 years. I've got thick skin. You can tell me almost anything. It's all good. But engage. As a matter of fact, that emotion, when people get angry and push back, I embrace that. I embrace it, because it means they still give a shit. It means they still care. They're still plugged in. Apathy, I can't handle, because they just, whatever. That doesn't inspire anybody. Those aren't my people. If you get Jones on one side or the other, really excited and happy and jacked up listening to this stuff, or you get really frustrated or angry, there's a huge emotional reaction to any of this, in any direction, you're my people, because you're plugged in. You care about what's going on around you. So I want to talk today, and again, I hope you hear it from my heart. Leading with love is something that I try and do all the time. And if you don't know who I am, I'm on a mission to positively change the lives of every man. And for a long time, I had said 10 million men, but Papa keeps telling me, and I call God Papa because of my relationship with him, as you know. But I keep hearing him say, Lord, there's 8 billion people on the planet. Conceivably, half of them are men. That's 4 billion men. 10 million is not the target, it's the jump point. We'll start to count at 10 million, which is ridiculously humbling for me. But that is the goal. That is the mission, is to positively impact. And how I want to do that? How do I want to do that? I want to raise their emotional quotient. Because once their emotional quotient goes up, their emotional quotient raises, everything in their life gets better. The relationships get better. Their life, they become a better boss and husband and dad and brother and son, and everything gets better. Business gets better because you can empathize and sympathize and be able to have some EQ around, emotional quotient around interacting with your people at work. I'm the founder and CEO of Jewel International. I'm a champion mindset mentor. I refer to myself as a legacy and resilience strategist. Legacy is something we lay down every day. We do it every day. Are we aware of that? We're leaving legacy with everybody we meet every day. So I'm a strategist. How do we have resilience? I work with pro athletes and entrepreneurial men primarily. We all need resilience. We all need to be able to continue to show up consistently and persistently day after day after day after day after day. It's a hallmark of champions is resilience. Being able to keep showing up no matter what's going on. Today there's lots of barometric pressure. It's raining and storming here. So there's pain, but you still show up. You still show up. We're leaving legacy. How are people remembering you? Positively or negatively? So I'm also, excuse me, I'm also a multi-award-winning international best-selling author multiple times, an international keynote speaker, and I'm a champion mindset coach for a pro basketball team locally here. I teach the 7 levels of emotional intelligence for men, and I serve, obviously, like I said, entrepreneurial men and pro athletes. So let's get into it today. If you don't have your journal, you are going to want something to write with today and write on today. Crayon, pen, pencil, whatever it is, you're going to want to write some of this stuff down today. So we've got a couple things to leave with you. So what are we chatting about? What does that mean? Lead with love, achieve with heart. What does that mean? There's a Swiss psychiatrist, Carl Jung, 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 that said, thinking is difficult. That's why most people judge. I find that interesting. Well, how come? I'm going to come back to it. Knowing your own darkness is the best method for dealing with darkness in other people. Knowing your own darkness is the best method for dealing with the darkness in other people. That's still Carl Jung. Oscar Wilde said it's not whether you win or lose, it's how you place the blame. Interesting perspective. That's judgment. Not whether you win or lose, it's how you place the blame. So we go back up. It's easier to, you boil it all down. Why do we judge? How come? What are we chatting about? We're talking about judging, right? We're talking about leading with love instead of judgment. Because there's only two places come in. You've heard me say that before, love or fear. But a lot of times we're wired to lead with a judgment. We make a snap decision about who the person is. Just when we're looking around and we're sitting in a restaurant or we're walking on the street or we're driving around, we're making snap judgments about people all over the place. That's just human nature to do that. Now, if we stay in that space and we continue to live in that space and we don't catch ourselves and go, no, 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 you know what? I don't know who that person is. Can I look at them and go, well, you know what? Maybe not. I don't know. But the reality is it's easier to judge than, because that doesn't require much thinking or reasoning. We don't have to think too much to judge because it just comes naturally. It's instant, right? Our brain is wired to make automatic judgments about others' behaviors, which what we're trying to do is save energy and thinking and understanding. But understanding, I thought that was very interesting. We're trying to save. Hey, Sarah, great for you to be here. Thank you for popping in today. That piece around understanding. We're wired to not spend the time and energy it takes to understand. When you're having a conversation with somebody, and the other person, and we do it ourselves, right? I do it myself on occasion where I'm listening to respond. I'm waiting for a space in the conversation so I can put what I'm thinking in. I'm not actually listening to understand. I'm listening to put my own 2 cents in. So understanding is harder, which is why most people don't do it, which is why we try not to do that if we can help it. That's why we judge. But understanding is harder because it requires deep thinking. It requires patience, compassion. Ding, 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 those things. And other words for that are emotional quotient. Our emotional quotient, patience, compassion, is emotional quotient. And then an open mind. We have to have an open mind. Well, a lot of times we don't want to do that. We don't want to have an open mind, right? We're trying to protect ourselves. Judging is simply our attempt to create the hierarchy of I'm better than, or they're less than, or I'm less than, because it's a judgment, right? I'm saying I'm not as good as that person, or maybe I'm better than that person. Maybe I'm superior or inferior to that person. It's judgment. We're defining our worth to everyone and everything we meet, which is, again, you've heard me say it before, that's not where we should be getting our worth and value from. We're not comparing ourselves to anybody else. The opinion of anybody else doesn't matter. It's none of our business. We have an innate urge to be right, to be better, to be superior always. That's built into us. That's our ego trying to survive. Our binary view of the world necessitates us to be either right or wrong. So we tend to judge. I want to be right or wrong. That's the binary world we live in, right? We don't want to think about it too much. Is this good or is it bad? And nothing is until we put the value on it ourselves. We have to put that value on it. Is something worth something or not worth something? Is something of value or not worth something of value? Is it got value or no value? But that we put that value on stuff. Another word for judging, by the way, people interchange the word stigma. You all know how I feel about that word. And if you don't, I hate that word. Anywhere you find the word stigma, you could put the word judgment in, and it'll be way more accurate, way more honest. It's not stop the stigma about suicide. It's not stop the stigma about mental health. It's not stop the stigma about weight. It's just stop being a judgmental prick. That's what it is. Stop being judgmental. Stop judging people. Are we aware? Do we have an awareness of what we're doing? There's a word for a name, and people are sometimes called Karens. People that have no awareness of what's going. They just don't. They're taken to an extreme. They refuse to understand. They refuse to figure it out. Right. And but you know what? At the end of the day, they're pushed to the limit. They refuse to understand. They don't want to understand. They just want to be right over and over and over and over. Over and over and over. And I'm not saying there isn't a time and a place to have a judgment, right? I'm not saying there in certain places, in certain ideas, and in certain situations, for sure. But talking about leading with. Do I lead with judgment before I have any of the data, before I have any of the information? Do I just automatically make a decision? Hey, I'm making a judgment right off the top. I need to have awareness around it. Although this is still Carl Jung, although our conscious minds are avoiding our own flaws, they still want to deal with them on a deeper level, which is great. They want to deal with them on a deeper level. So we magnify those flaws in other people. That's interesting. You ever notice that? Things that you're frustrated with about yourself, you're hypersensitive in somebody else. You're quick to point it out in somebody else because it's something that reflects, it says more about us than it does about them. Judging says more about us than it does about them. Because usually what we're judging is something we hate in ourselves. Really deep. I mean, this, and I wrote it at the top, this really deep emotional quotient stuff. Like, as I was digging into this, I got pages and pages and pages of notes this week because I'm like, you know what? There is so much stuff around this. There really is. Take the beam out of your own eye before you take the splinter from someone else's. That's right out of the Bible. But we can only see in others what we have inside ourselves. Inside ourselves. First we reject, then we project. First we reject, so we judge, and then we project. Yeah, Earl Nightingale said, when we judge others, you don't define them, you define yourself. I have to take a quick break, but does that make sense? Give me thumbs up, put in a chat, hey, this makes perfect sense, or yep, I agree, or nope, I don't agree, or hey, Gord, you're full of poop. I don't resonate with that. Excuse me, hiccups. I don't resonate with that at all. Tell me what you think. All right, so as we go to a quick break here, don't forget to pause and breathe. We want to do that, but the quick shout out right at the moment is to Jose Escobar, who's the founder and CEO of the Entrepreneur's Bookshelf. Check out the Connected Leaders Academy membership to take your business to the next level. This is the perfect tribe to learn, grow, and connect like never before. The Connected Leaders Academy tribe brings together some of the highest level entrepreneurs from all over the world. Set up your virtual coffee with Jose Escobar today, and you can reach him. If you weren't here on Monday for Mo Mondays in Canada when he came up, you can reach him at entrepreneursbookshelf.com. Thank you so much for being a founding sponsor, partner sponsor, Jose, and thank you to all of my sponsors. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, well, let's take a quick break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. We're going to find out why we do it. Why do we judge? Why do we do this? Why do we keep doing it to ourselves? Thank you for being here, Cheryl. So don't go anywhere. Keep your journal handy, and I'll be right back here with the long-bearded guy. That's me, Gordon D. Melville, on Inspired Choices Network. Don't forget to pause and breathe.
How much of our daily success relies on our mindset? Anything we are unaware of can still impact our lives. When dealing with our daily emotions that we all face, there can be positive outcomes we control. Why is the word stigma such a BS misnomer? Is living abundantly really possible for all of us, no matter where we find ourselves today? Join the long-bearded guy, Gordon D. Melville. The Chief Catalyst Strategist Guide at Jewel International invites you to an enlightening, sometimes shocking discussion. He will be challenging you to explore your own answers to these questions and so many more. This will lead you towards living an abundant, successful life no matter how you define it. Gordon D. Melville is live Fridays at 12 noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email becomeahost@inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is the Long Bearded Guy with Gordon D. Melville. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also send an email to thelongbeardedguy@gmail.com. Now back to the program.
Hey everybody, welcome back. You're with Gordon D. Melville, the Long Bearded Guy on Inspired Choices Network, and today we're talking about leading with love, achieving with heart. What did that mean? We were talking about what the hell does that even mean? And a lot of times what we're doing is we're leading with judgment instead of with love. We're letting ourselves go into that space. And sometimes there's a time and place for that. But most of the time, that's not the way we want to lead, because it bleeds into our relationships. It bleeds into the situations around us, and it colors the way we look at the world. So in this segment, I want to talk just real quick about why do we do it? Why do we do it? How come? Because it's easier. That's the long and short of it. It's easier. It doesn't take the energy or the understanding. We talked about that a little bit already. But I want to make sure that we jump up and down on it, because if, again, it comes around awareness. It comes around being aware that this is what we're doing and why we're doing it, right? Especially if judgment is a projection of what we don't like in ourselves. Right. And some people go, well, no, I don't think I have that in myself. There must be something there that triggers on some level, because if it's not, then it's straight ego. Right. It's saying, I want to feel superior to that person. So I'm going to judge. I'm going to lift myself up to make them seem in my mind inferior somehow or less than, so that I can feel better about myself. Does that make sense? It's understanding and that awareness around, is that where we want, is that judgment the way we want to look at the world? Do we want to look at it that way? Do we want to look at it, because again, we make choices out of fear or out of love? Well, judgment is on the fear side, because love doesn't have that in it. Love doesn't judge, biblically or any other way. It doesn't mean we don't have boundaries, right? It doesn't mean we don't have limits to where it doesn't. That love doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean we just accept everything that's happening to us. It doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean we agree with everything. But leading with love says, you know what? I'm going to ask questions. I'm going to try to understand the other person. I'm going to suspend judgment until I understand them better, or I get to know them better. Now, are there extreme cases where, you know what, the people are just horrendous human beings? That's possible. And again, even with those people, I find it interesting. I was talking about this with my wife and some other people last night. Papa loves everybody the same way. He loves me as much as he loves the person that I don't like or vehemently don't like. We're all his kids. So then to be able to go, well, you know what? I don't have to spend any time with that person. That's a choice I make, right? We can choose that, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I do it myself. There's lots of things in my life that I choose to do that way. Partly because I don't have a lot of energy. I don't have the bandwidth to put up with toxicity in my life. I don't have the energy to spend with the people I do want to spend time with. Well, I'm not doing it. I'm not spending time in places don't feel welcome, and I don't feel that is a positive environment that's going to lift me out. Right? Energy vampires. I'm going to stay away from people that just keep sucking and sucking and sucking and sucking and sucking without giving. Right? And that's not a judgment thing. I'm not judging them. What I'm saying is, you know what? I just choosing not to be around that. Everything that we talk about is a framing of how we view, right? The lens we're using to look at a situation. For instance, Somebody told me years and years and years ago when I was just a young guy to always keep $100 bill in my wallet. Always, always, always. Hide it in the back. Put it in the back somewhere. It's not something you use, right? It's there for its emergency if you absolutely had to use it. But the point is, when you didn't have lots of money, as a young guy, you didn't have huge amounts of money. And so when people say, hey, you want to go for dinner, or you want to go to a movie, you want to whatever, instead of saying, hey, I can't afford that, you can. There's $100 in your wallet. But if you don't want to spend the $100, then what you're pivoting, right? You're looking at it and responding out of a lens that says, I'm choosing not to do that. I can afford to, but I'm going to choose not to. Very empowering. Very empowering. But it depends on how we're looking at that situation. How are we choosing? It's about choice. We're choosing to look at it like that. We're choosing to be judgmental, right? Like I said, we're wired that way, right? So certain things piss us off, certain things frustrate us, certain things get us going, right? So we have a lower tolerance for putting up with certain things. But a lot of times the things that frustrate us like that are things that deep down we know, hey, you know what? I know I'm like that sometimes. I know I struggle with that. So I become almost intolerant of it in other people, right? We see things in other people way quicker, right? You talk about for coaches, a lot of times we talk about, you know what? I can see it in someone else with way more objectivity than I can see it in myself. And is that because it's easier to see it in someone else? No, it's because I don't have the objectivity on myself. I don't want to look in the mirror and go, oh, I suck, or I have warts, or I have idiosyncrasies, or I have things that aren't what they should be. I lack somehow in the way that I approach. I have gaps in my skill sets. And it's okay to have gaps. It's okay not to be okay. It's just not okay to stay there. And you've heard me say that before. So then we keep trying, we keep pushing, we intentionally try and grow. And we are unbelievably aware of where we are, how we're living, and the choices we make. Because whether we like it or not, where we are right this minute is a result of the choices we've made over our life, good, bad, or otherwise. And we can like it or we don't have to like it. We can agree, we don't have to agree. It doesn't change what is. We are where we are because of our choices. So we can choose to judge, and maybe we alienate people. Maybe we piss people off. People don't want to hang out with us or spend time because they feel judged. They feel like, oh, I'm not good enough. I hang around this person, I feel less than somehow. So they don't want to do it. We all have people in our lives that we go, I love hanging out with that person. There was a lady in our life that was a wife of one of my wife's bosses when we first got together. And she could tell when I had conversations with this lady because she just lifted me up and boosted me up and boosted me up. And I was just a young guy. And so hearing how amazing I was and all the stuff that she would tell me, and she could tell, hey, you've been hanging out with Annie, because you wouldn't, she could tell. But we all have people in our life like that. Who do you like? Are you that person? Are you that person? Are you the person people look for and want to hang out with? Because I'll guarantee you, if you look at the people in your life like that, that you want to hang out with, they're not judgmental. That's just the reality of it. Because if they were, you wouldn't want to spend the time. You want to spend time because you feel encouraged and supported and cared about and lifted up, not beat down. I find that interesting, and I may have talked about that before. And just as we get ready for another break here, we talk about feeling beat up. We wish we were beat up. We're not beat up. We're beat down. We get beat down. We beat ourselves down. We don't beat ourselves up. We should be beating ourselves up, lifting ourselves up, encouraging ourselves, caring and putting self-care in. We should be going up. When we don't, we go down. We beat ourselves down. The lens we're using. How are we framing what we say to ourselves is what we say to other people, as well as what we say to other people. There's so much in this topic. There's so much in this topic. There just is so much. And you know what? Again, it revolves around awareness. Are we aware that this is how we're doing it? Are we aware that these are the choices we're making? Are we aware that this is the vibration and the energy we're pumping out? Because sometimes we're not. But again, that revolves around our emotional quotient. Do we have high EQ or low EQ? Hopefully, listening to this show will give you higher EQ. That's the goal. Quick thing, another quick shout out before I go to break here. Again, for Jose Escobar, is the founder and CEO of the Entrepreneur's Bookshelf. Check out the Entrepreneur's Bookshelf to learn more about the morning and evening mastery program that's changing people's lives in real time. This program will help you install systems on the bookends of your day to maximize your morning and evening routine. Set up your free strategy session with Jose Escobar today, and you can reach him at theentrepreneursbookshelf.com. It's an incredible program. If you're not doing some kind of morning and evening routine day after day after day after day after day, you're not getting the most out of your day. You're fooling yourself that I'm doing everything I can. Nah, bullshit. No, you're not. No, you're not. You need to have a morning and evening routine. Reach out to Jose. That's an incredible program. It really is. So as we go to break here, don't forget to pause and breathe. We're going to talk about ways to escape being judgmental when we come back. How do we lead with our hearts instead of being judgmental? Don't go anywhere. You're with the long-bearded guy. That's Gordon D. Melville. That's me on Inspired Choices Network. Be right back. Don't forget to pause and breathe.
How much of our daily success relies on our mindset? Anything we are unaware of can still impact our lives. When dealing with our daily emotions that we all face, there can be positive outcomes we control. Why is the word stigma such a BS misnomer? Is living abundantly really possible for all of us, no matter where we find ourselves today? Join the long-bearded guy, Gordon D. Melville. The Chief Catalyst Strategist Guide at Jewel International invites you to an enlightening, sometimes shocking discussion. He will be challenging you to explore your own answers to these questions and so many more. This will lead you towards living an abundant, successful life no matter how you define it. Gordon D. Melville is live Fridays at 12 noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
The Connected Leaders Academy is the #1 fastest growing networking community for entrepreneurs. CLA assembles high-level leaders, titans of industry, and business owners under one roof. If you're an entrepreneur looking to grow personally, professionally, scale your influence, develop skills, and expand your network exponentially, the CLA is where you need to be. Want on to more podcasts and shows, speak on more stages, sell more books, products, and services, get more leads, referrals, acquire new clients, develop lifelong friendships, and more. Join the Connected Leaders Academy today. Contact Jose Escobar on Facebook or check out www.claglobalsummit.com for more information.
This is the long-bearded guy with Gordon D. Melville. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also send an email to thelongbeardedguy@gmail.com. Now back to the program.
Hey everybody, welcome back. You're with the long-bearded guy, Gordon D. Melville. That's me on Inspired Choices Network. And today, on December 1st, shockingly, unbelievable, we're into December already. Unbelievable. Incredible. December 1st, 24 days from now, it's Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. Incredible. Incredible. Anyway, we're talking about leading with love, achieving with heart. Leading with love and achieving with heart. So we want to talk in this little quick segment about ways to escape being judgmental. You're like, okay, Gord, it's great that you're saying don't be that way. How do I not be that way? What are things I can do so that I'm not judgmental? What are things I can focus on so that I'm not judgmental? So if you got something to write with, I'm going to give you a few here really quick. Ways to escape the judgment loop. Number 1, be open. Be open. Seek to understand first with an open mind. Don't close your mind off. Don't, hey, I'm just gonna judge. Nope. Be open. Seek to understand first. Maybe you don't have all the information. Maybe they're emotional around it. Maybe it set you off because you see something about yourself you don't like in them. And it's made it hard for you you've closed off. Be open. Number 2, be curious. We may not understand or have all the questions. We may not have all the questions. Be curious. Ask questions about them. It shows that you have interest in them. It shows that you want to understand and know more. Be curious. This is how we stop and escape being judgmental. Be empathetic. Give them the benefit of the doubt. Empathetic is EQ. It's EQ. Be empathetic. Be sympathetic. 4, be self-aware. Practice these things you want to remember. Practice. It's not going to come on its own. It's not going to come by itself. There's few people very few people, but there are people that can do that are just wired that way and can do this more easily. But most of us have to really practice at it. So practice self-forgiveness. Self-forgiveness. I'm going to forgive me. It doesn't mean that I'm letting myself off the hook. It doesn't mean that I don't think what they did was bad or what I did was okay. That's not what it's saying. Self-forgiveness, forgiving is about releasing myself, releasing the other person. Because holding on to that judgment is like drinking poison and expecting my enemy to die. I drink the poison, but I'm expecting them to. That's what's happening. It makes that being not having forgiveness, not giving that freely out. Is that easy? No, it's freaking hard. Because we want to. Our ego says, no, I deserve this. I can be mad. I can be angry. I can't forgive them for what they did, no matter what it was. But if we practice self-forgiveness, then we will be able to forgive other people. Self-acceptance. If we can accept ourselves, we can accept other people. Self-compassion. If we can give ourselves grace. If we can give ourselves grace. If we can give ourselves forgiveness, and if we can accept who we are, makes it way, way easier to be able to do that for other people. We can't control anybody else. Right? We can't control them. Control is an illusion outside of what we think and what we do. Literally. Can we think people are airheads? Yes, we can. But we can't control that. Are they going to do exactly what we want them to do? No, they're not. But you know what? Life happens. Life happens. So we forgive them and go, you know what? I don't know what. And I used to play a game with my people in the business development centers when we were making calls and somebody was ignorant with me. And I would get off the call and everybody's like, oh, what? That person was horrible. And I used to look at the people in the room and go, yeah, but it's okay. It's okay. They just found out before they got on the call that they owe 10 grand in back tax to the IRS. And people in the room are like, how do you know that? I don't remember. We heard the whole call. I don't remember hearing that. I'm like, no. I'm playing a game with myself because what I'm trying to do is give them the benefit of the doubt. I don't know what's going on in their life. I'm trying to give them the benefit that, you know what, maybe they're not an airhead. Maybe they're not a complete schmuck. Maybe they're not as nasty as they sounded like they were on the phone. Maybe there's something else going on in their life. And then I move on. I let it go. I have frozen moment, let it go. What's the point of holding on to it? You know what? That's just going to mess me up. Again, we go back to the whole 86,400 seconds deal. Someone steals $400 from you. Do you burn the other $86,000 because you're pissed off someone stole $400? People go, oh, Gord, that's crazy. We do it all the time. We all have 86,400 seconds in a day. And somebody pisses us off or frustrates us, and we burn the rest of the day being pissed off. And sometimes it's not a day. Sometimes it's multiple days, weeks. Let it go. Let it go. So be self-aware. Practice self-forgiveness, self-acceptance, and self-compassion. Be kind. Ian McLaren said, be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. Right? We don't know what people are fighting. We don't know what the battles are happening in their life. So we have compassion. How do we lead with our heart? So instead of judging, how do we lead with our heart? Again, listen to your heart. Is the first one. You ever sat and just been quiet? Just sat and I want to hear my own heart. And I'm not necessarily talking about the beat of it, although sitting and just holding your hand on your chest and pum, 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 is a great way to meditate. Really good, focusing on that beat. Because as long as there's beat, do it at the moment. Put your hand on your heart right at the moment. Right where you're sitting, wherever you are. You could be driving, you could be wherever you are. Put your hand on your chest. Do you feel that? Pum, 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 pum. Means there's hope. Means you can make it what you want it to be. Means you're still here. Means there's still time because it's still beating. Listen to your heart. Value connectedness. Right? Give yourself the benefit and the gift of being present. We're coming up to Christmas. Give yourself the gift, the present of being right here, right now. That's connectedness. Instead of thinking about something else that's going on before, or something else that's going on after, or something else that you want to talk about when they're talking, or be right there in the moment. Be connected to them. Be connected to yourself. If you can't connect to you, it's very difficult to connect to other people. Connect, and value that. Value those relationships. Value the people that you can reach out to and talk to, that will accept you and love you regardless of what you're doing, regardless of what you said, regardless of how inept we sometimes are at living our own life. The people that still show up for us. When times are good, anybody can show up. Who's showing up for you when things are hard? Who's showing up for you and putting the time in and making time for you when things are not good? Because most people will run. Not because they're being mean and not because they don't. Usually it's because they don't know what to say. Usually it's because they have no idea how to help. Because they don't have high EQ either. Because if they did, they would be there for you. Value connectedness. Create a positive relationship with people. Positive ones, not negative ones. Positive. Make sure they're positive. Create those. It's in our power to do that. Create positive relationships. Build trust. How do we do that? Well, we be trustworthy. Anything I want to see happen outside of me, I have to make sure I'm doing myself. If I want to build trust, I have to be trustworthy. If I want to feel loved, I need to be loving. If I want more care, I need to be caring. It all, there's a symbiotic relationship with all this, folks. We always talk about birds of a feather flocking together on all the sides, in a negative way and in a positive way. If you find someone that's really got high EQ, I'll guarantee you there's other people around in their inner circle that they hang out with that also have high EQ. Why? Because they wouldn't be able to put up with it otherwise. They wouldn't be able to deal with it. Build trust. Be authentic. Everybody wants to be unique. You is unique. Being you is, there's nobody else that can be you. Nobody else can be you. That's unique. Be 100% unapologetically, unabashedly you. Show up authentically. Be you. I'm giving you permission, and you don't need my permission. What I'm saying is, just do it. And you know what? The weirdest thing happens when you do that, when you show up authentically, you give that. And again, it's not permission. What it does is give latitude for people around you to also be authentic. They'll be authentic around you because you're being authentic with them. And that's unique. And it should be celebrated. Be caring. Be caring. Again, you want care from people, you have to be caring. You want to be loved, you have to be loving. Be authentic. Be caring. Lead with love, not judgment. And you will achieve from your heart. way more fulfilling than filling a bank account. Not that we don't need money, because we do, but achievement from your heart is way more fulfilling. That's the stuff they talk about in a eulogy, right? They don't talk about your bank account or the size of your house or your car, what your title at work was. They don't talk about that. What do they talk about? Your EQ. Your legacy is what you've poured into people. Be aware, lead with love, and achieve from your heart. Will be way more impactful. I have to take another quick break. Time goes so fast on these shows, so quick. But don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. We'll wrap. We'll talk about, just real quick, we'll talk about next week, and we'll do a quick call to action, which I think will be impactful for you today. It was impactful for me. So I'm hoping it helps you. So don't go anywhere. We will be right back. If this resonates with you, if you hear stuff that you go, I need more of this, please reach out to me, thelongbeardedguy@gmail.com. There's ways to plug in group that can make it a little less expensive. There's ways you can hire me to come and talk to your people. There's ways we can do one-on-one mentorship. There's lots of ways to plug in. Please reach out to me, thelongbeardedguy@gmail.com. I'm here to be of service to you. And whether you're a entrepreneurial male or a pro athlete or not, reach out to me. Reach out to me. I know a ton of amazing coaches, heart-centric, lead with love coaches. Reach out to me. Reach out. thelongbeardedguy@gmail.com. Don't forget to pause and breathe as we take a quick break here. I have some more of my herbal tea, and we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. You're with the Long Bearded Guy, Gordon D. Melville, on Inspired Choices Network.
How much of our daily success relies on our mindset? Anything we are unaware of can still impact our lives. When dealing with our daily emotions that we all face, there can be positive outcomes we control. Why is the word stigma such a BS misnomer? Is living abundantly really possible for all of us, no matter where we find ourselves today? Join the Long-Bearded Guy, Gordon D. Melville. The Chief Catalyst Strategist Guide at Jewel International invites you to an enlightening, sometimes shocking discussion. He will be challenging you to explore your own answers to these questions and so many more. This will lead you towards living an abundant, successful life no matter how you define it. Gordon D. Melville is live Fridays at 12 noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
How wonderful would it be to carry your favorite Inspired Choices Network host with you throughout your day? Well, now you can. Inspired Choices Network now has its very own mobile app. Our free app offers live streaming shows, along with thousands of podcasts and TV episodes. Our shows cover a wide variety of topics. Whether you're waking up with us, carrying us through the day, and taking us to bed with you, we're always here for you to enjoy. We're easy to find. Just search for Inspired Choices Network in the Apple App Store or Google Play Store.
This is the Long-Bearded Guy with Gordon D. Melville. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also send an email to thelongbeardedguy@gmail.com. Now back to the program.
Hey everybody, welcome back. As we get wrapping up here, we've been talking about today, leading with love and achieving with heart. Leading with love and achieving with heart, especially as we're talking. So the next, the month of December, we're going to talk about these type of things. Each week, we're going to talk about these kind of things. Each show could be a 4 or 5 series shows around this kind of a topic, because it's such a deep conversation. There's so much stuff around this kind of awareness. There's so much stuff on these concepts. So as we get going here, I want to give you, as we get to the end of our show here, the call to action today. What's stopping you from living out and leading with your heart? What's stopping you from living out of and leading with your heart? What are some steps you can take today? Don't wait. As soon as you get off listening, what are steps you can take today, right now, that can start leading from your heart without judgment? What are things you can do to change that pivot on that reframing? It's a deep question. I had to think about that a bunch this week. What are some things I can do? Am I leading from my heart? What's stopping me from doing that? What's stopping you from doing that? I know what's stopping me from doing that. What's stopping you from doing it? And what are some steps you can take right now? Not just one or two, right? Or as many as you can think. What are some steps you can take to start leading from your heart without judgment? Amazing. Amazing, amazing, amazing. We're almost at the end. It goes so quick. Next week, Friday, December 8th. December 8th. That didn't even sound real saying it out loud. Next week, we're going to at the same place, same time, same wonderful station, same happy beard. And I'll still have my red hat on, my red Santa hat on. And we're going to talk next week about Gutsy Guys Gush. GGG. Gutsy Guys Gush. Around this same idea. Gutsy Gals Gush too. So if you're a gal, don't think you can't listen. You can still tune in. That will be next week, December 8th at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. I don't remember what that is on the West Coast and East Coast and all the different things. But you know what? If you plug into the Inspired Choices Network and download the app for free, it'll tell you. It'll tell you, hey, this is when it is in the other time zone. So we're going to focus. I'm going to focus on that a lot in December as we go into the Christmas season. It's a time of giving. It's a time of thankfulness. It's a time of appreciation of what we've got. Right? Jim Rohn used to say we want to be thankful and grateful for what we have, but not content. Ooh, that's a fine line. Grateful, but not content. Because if we're grateful, we might be content. Right? If we're content, we stop pushing. We stop intentionally getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. We stop doing it. I've got everything I want. I'm not going to push anymore. And then we go backwards. Because it used to be, if you continue to do what you've always done, you'll get what you've always had. That's not the case anymore. Life's happening way too fast. If you do what you've always done, you'll get less and less and less what you've always had. Because life will be passing you by. Focus on intentional growth. Be aware. Have high EQ. Be a student of yourself. Give yourself acceptance. Give yourself compassion. Give yourself forgiveness. Because when you do that, it'll come out of you for other people. And it's like any other muscle. You don't work it, it gets weak and doesn't work. You keep putting the effort into that, you'll keep getting it over and over, and you'll strengthen those muscles. And it'll get easier and easier and easier. Doesn't mean life will be easy. No one ever promised easy. Papa didn't promise easy. He promised he'd walk through it with us. As we wrap up this week, I want you to remember, be courageous, not without fear. Be afraid and do it anyway. Be courageous. Be unapologetically you. That's unique. Make it another great week. You have the power to do that. Live out you. Live out abundantly you. Abundantly with intention you. Remember, I love you. Massive, massive hugs. And we'll look forward to seeing you next week.
Thank you for tuning into the Long Bearded Guy Show. You are appreciated and loved. Gordon D. Melville returns Fridays at 12 noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on the InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. Until then, make it another great week, leading with love, powerfully designing, crafting, and living out your positively impactful legacy.